Hi y'all, today we'll be talking about the Helios, the new heavy weapon that has been added in today's update as of May 17th. Yes, I'm making a weapon review the exact same day the weapon came out, and that is because there is not a whole lot to this gun. It's flamethrower, kind of, not really. So basically, the way this works is it has two different fire modes. So your burst fire mode, I'll be naming it the burst fire mode because that's what it is 400 RPM, 405 to be exact, with 125 damage, 600 meters per second velocity, a fairly bad reload at 5 seconds long, 4 seconds short, 150 rounds, which is absolutely colossal for this thing, and hip accuracy and aim accuracy is the exact same, and not very good. Notably, it also has 1.0 ADS multiplier, but the ADS on this gun is worthless. So, that's your burst fire mode. Now, your alt fire mode exists too, and while I cannot pull up stats for this thing, because I don't want to, basically the way it works is it consumes 50 ammo per alt fire, and it's explosive. It's like an incendiary grenade. It's kind of like the Thumper in terms of projectile. It works similarly. It's a little bit different. You'll have to get used to the drop yourself. But notably, it does two-shot splash. And it can also two-shot direct. And if you get lucky, you can sometimes one-hit on direct, but it's not consistent, and players are usually already injured if that happens. So, the Helios is weird. I've had some people say that the alt mode is worthless and the burst mode is really good. But from my own experience and from what I'm largely seeing, the burst mode is pretty much useless. The alt fire is really the only way to run this gun. So, the reason for that is the burst mode is really, really inaccurate. The damage is really, really bad. And honestly, it's just too inaccurate. Even aiming down sights, the thing is horrendous accuracy for consistent kills. And you just don't kill anything. You don't hit enough to kill things, and because you don't have AoE when you're aiming down sights, it doesn't really work good as a suppression tool. But when you're alt-firing, it does, because it's a big AoE. I obviously don't have the exact number here, but it's a pretty big AoE for what it is, and with such high lob damage, or AoE damage upon the explosion, you kill things. Like I've said, you pretty much two-shot people fairly consistently, sometimes three. It kind of depends on how close they are. So, in the way of attachments, the sight literally does not matter because you will never ever aim this thing down sights. And on the rail, the laser sight is literally the only option here. So, the grip, it's a 5-round burst. You do not need a grip. The extended magazine gives you 5 rounds in a 150-round magazine. It's useless. You don't get an extra explosive blob. Like, if you got an extra alt-fire explosive, it'd be great. Otherwise, it's trash. It's garbage. Just straight-up garbage. Which means the laser sight is the only option here. And, funnily enough, the laser sight makes this gun literally better to hipfire, as you will have better hipfire accuracy than aim accuracy. So, just hipfire the thing if you're going to use it in burst mode, and of course if you're alt-firing, it straight up does not matter. So of course we're going to go right into play, and we're going to talk about, what I think of this gun. So, I've been using this thing for, about an hour and a half now. I've been running a double loadout, so I'm running the special Helios, the EX in my primary, and the regular Helios in my secondary. Obviously, this requires you having the unique Helios to do, which is bundle locked in the anniversary bundle, and you will also need the ASP perk for heavy weapon secondary. So, as I've stated, the burst mode is useless. I will quickly demonstrate just how useless it is, because it's not accurate. As I mentioned, hipfire is already more accurate than aiming down sights, and look at how bad it is. It's trash. Hipfiring is not reliable, and because you do so low damage per bullet and your rate of fire is so trash, you don't actually do any real damage while hipfiring. I genuinely do not believe it's worth hipfiring at all. Sure, you can get kills this way, don't get me wrong, and sometimes you do kill people here and there. Like, it does work, but compared to the alt-fire, it's not that good. So, the alt-fire, of course, press B to switch fire mode, and it fires an explosive lob. You get 3 of them per reload. And it hits hard, and it does a lot of damage, and it's really, really nice for area suppression or if you're just holding a lane. It's kind of like a Thumper in that regard, where you pretty much just keep spamming it down a lane and farming and hope people walk into the explosive AoE. However, you have a lot of downtime, because you spend a lot of time reloading, and with only 3 explosive lobs, sure, odds are that you'll get a kill per magazine, if not more, but you won't get that many. So that's why I like having the second one. Because the other really, really major problem with the Helios that I want to highlight, is the ammo consumption. Obviously, if you lock it in the burst mode, it's pretty good. It's pretty good if you leave it in the burst mode, because you have 450 rounds. But if you have an alt-fire mode, you lob effectively a 50-round shot. So you get 3 shots per mag, and you only get 2 spare magazines. You get 9 alt fires before you're dry. And given how fast you shoot these out, you can pretty much empty a mag of the Helios in 20 seconds. With reloads. Like, you run this gun dry exceptionally quickly. And that's why I like having 2 of them, because obviously you get another 9 more shots. However, even then, you'll be running out of ammo like there's no tomorrow. That's why the title for the video is the way it is. You are going to be bitching and crying for there to always be an engineer at your feet. And if there is an engineer at your feet, good job. You're eating really good because you can just keep spamming on a corner because it is a really, really fast ammo retick. It is a really quick ammo retick, in fact. It's great if you have a squad mate that needs to do resupply ribbons, for what it's worth. But if you don't, you are just going to blow all your ammo and you're going to do nothing. You're also going to set yourself on fire a lot. And this is mostly just an unfortunate fact of the Helios having an AoE incendiary round, especially with the lob. But you are going to die to your own friendly fire a lot. You're also probably going to be on the edge of getting weapons locked a lot, because it's an AoE explosive. Do I really need to tell you why? Traditionally, AoE explosives are not really good for your weapon lock rates. And that's just a fact of life. So, on the whole, I think the Helios is decent. Bro, why are you there? Absolute critter gameplay. The Helios is not bad. It's in a weird place, is the best way I can describe it. Outside of the alt-fire mode, I don't think it is much use. In fact, as a whole, I think it's only really useful as a corner spamming weapon, or a hall spamming weapon. Basically, whenever you can basically just hold mouse 1 on a corner, and look, we're already out of ammo, so we gotta switch. This is why I like having the second one, as I've already mentioned. So, yeah, it's okay. It's really good for just spamming on corners or walls or anywhere else where you can just kind of hold mouse 1. Because, obviously, it has a really big explosive range with really good damage, and because it has incendiary, you're going to be killing players after they've left your sight. But, the burst mode is useless. It's pretty much garbage at range because the projectile actually times out really, really fast in the air. And, well, good luck leading it at range. So, it's decent. Obviously, it's worth unlocking. As of this recording, there's currently an event directive going on where you can unlock the regular Helios for free. Absolutely worth picking up. The directive itself is easy, and it's a free weapon. After this directive ends, it will be a cert weapon, probably for 1,000 certs. Now, whether I think it's 1,000 certs... I think it's worth 1,000 certs, but it's a very low priority unlock. It's fun to use. It's fun to just chuck explosive fire at people, obviously. But it's not the most combat effective weapon out there. And you, like I've been saying, you really, really need a pocket engineer to keep you fed. Because otherwise you're just going to be constantly running out of ammo. Having a medic is really handy too, so you're not always burning yourself to death. It's decent, but I keep flip-flopping on it. I can't really make up my mind on it so far. It's a really nice tool for areas where you'll want to spam doors or shit. Like, I think it'd be a really great secondary weapon for your heavy, if that means anything to you. But as an actual primary, you run out of ammo too quick. It's a nice tool to have. It's like the Archer, it's like the Thumper, you know. It's a great little tool to have, but I don't really think it's something that's high priority, and I don't really think it's something that's necessarily worth rushing for. But, you know, it's fun. It's a fun incendiary weapon. A special little note for those of you like me who use Recursion Stat Tracker, make sure you have a lot of fatality sound effects, because since incendiary kills are technically considered fatalities, you're going to be hearing a lot of them. Just something to keep in mind if you run Recursion, make sure you like your fatality sound effect, because you're going to be hearing it a lot. That's a convenient spot to die. I've actually had my Recursion slightly below average for this video, because I don't want you to be constantly hearing fatalities. So, on the whole, in recap, it's the Helios. You're going to see the EX one here, but whatever. It's a good weapon that is worth unlocking while it's free, and when it becomes available for certs, it's a very low priority unlock. It's fun for what it is. The burst mode is completely useless on it. The alt-fire is, honestly, in my opinion, the only way to run it, but you eat through ammo. You eat through a ton of ammo. You need engineers to keep you fed. So, it's decent. I think it's a fine weapon. It's good for heavy assists, or if you just want, I don't know, a heavy weapon. But it's not something urgently worth unlocking or anything. It's not like it's not going to be meta-defining or anything. It'll be a nice tool to have, but I don't see it being meta-defining. And on the whole, I think it's in a good spot balance-wise. I don't think the devs need to touch this thing at all. Maybe raising the extended mag so that it gave 50 rounds, so that you'd get an extra lob, but that might be way too strong. So, I think it's pretty fine where it is. Thank you all, and I will see you all again another time. Bye.